Hey, what's going on? It's Chris Maniak with Store Development at JOANN. Wanted to go over some fixture installation priorities in our seasonal department. And what we're going to be talking about in this overview is the low runs, typically 5 of them that sit outside of seasonal, and then our tall seasonal wall. There are other components to our seasonal department, and those will be captured in their own details. For example, our IFMs and nesting tables that you see out here front, in the front. But we're going to start with the tall seasonal wall itself, just to talk about the makeup of it. So depending on project type, you may have Storeflex or you may have Logier. So I want to talk about the base gondola that makes up this wall for both of those different vendors. So what you're going to have is white 120-inch uprights. If you're in a Storeflex store, that's going to be a combo of 57.5 and 57.5 pegboard. Mind you that we have a raw finish, which is correct for our tall seasonal wall. If this were going to be Logier, this would be 66-inch peg with 48-inch peg on top. So different combos per vendor, different vendor. 16-inch base deck. Do want to call out that this fixture on the front and on the back should be anchored to the floor at every point. I'll take a base deck out here. Hopefully. You'll see down here on the end that this run is anchored to the floor. So very important that that is done. Like any other gondola run, this would be leveled properly before any other additional components were put on. Next, we'll talk about the end panels. So these are specifically designed just for the tall seasonal wall. They come from off the wall, our millwork vendor. They are 120 height to match the height of the fixture as well. Depending on what vendor you're applying these seasonal panels to, will be different hardware that you're going to attach with. These are box corner brackets when used with Storeflex. You'll use 8 of them, 2 on the bottom. There's 1 on the other side where you can't see right now. And then 2 sets in the middle, kind of spread out evenly, and then 2 on top. You may be able to see it through the corner there. So 8 total on both sides. You're going to emulate the same thing over there. There are leveling legs on the end panel, so you may need to raise or lower those to make sure this is sitting level with the gondola unit. If you are using Logier end panel, the whole installation quantity of brackets is the same, but there's a bracket that is a DAB bracket. It is the same one that you would attach non-merch end panels with Logier. We're going to go ahead and move in and start talking about the extended pegboard panel system and the laminate shelves. And I'll give an overview to start, and then we'll actually get up there and check out some of the dimensions. But you see you have 2 elevations of laminate shelves. These come with our millwork vendor off the wall. They're 16-inch deep with 4.5-inch faces. The placement of them is very important that you follow the details, and we'll go over that more here in a moment. So we're going to take a pause and we're going to get on the lift and we'll talk about some dimensions. So we're up here on the lift and want to check out how the actual laminate shelves and extended pegboard system is installed. So you could see here in the front we are very close to having a very flush junction between the end panel and the laminate shelf, and we're going to talk about how you achieve that. So the first thing is, and I'm going to raise this up just a little higher, the laminate shelf that is on the very top. So talking about where you install it, so you could see the top tooth of the shelf is actually installed over top of the upright, not in the top notch. So you want to make sure that's up. That's how you're going to achieve this. For perfection, you can use the leveling legs on the end panels to get this perfectly flush, as this contractor did. Now, talking about the bottom lower shelf, and this is the very important part. Oh, I'm sorry. It is very important that you count the notches in the uprights starting at the very top up there, and you're going to count down 38 notches, and that's how you're going to know where this shelf is installed. Now note the shelf actually has multiple hooks in it, so that 38 notch is the top hook of the shelf, and then that's going to give you your proper placement. If done properly, you're gonna have exactly 33.5. It could vary slightly, probably by an 1/8 of an inch to 3/16, depending on the powder coat and how it was manufactured. But our marketing that will hang on these extended pegboard panels are 32.25 in height. So you need at least a minimal of that. 33.5 is what we're really looking for. That should give you a very small gap here and here once our store team puts the marketing up. Now the extended peg panels, whether they come from Storeflex or Logier, could vary a little bit. So we're not giving you any dimensions or details on where to put the cross tubes. You can see back behind this panel, there's 2 cross tubes that you hang in here, and then there's brackets that will bracket on the back. And I'll actually take one of these off so you can see it. Hopefully. Now I'm gonna have to edit this. All right.
Or not.
Just All right. Start it. Are you still filming?
I'm still filming.
That's fine. All right. So we're gonna take off one of these pegboard panels, so you can take a look at the brackets on the back of it, so you can see